Kuna Joseph Tamale Mirundi mutabani wa Mole n'amatovu ne Yowana
Mirundi.
Yes.
Yowana Mirundi.
Yowana Mirundi.
Nabagamba nti mwagala
ngai. Nze mita mu Mirundi.
Kyatawange Yowana Mirundi.
Lwaki minato gitume Mirundi?
Bonna
iba Mirundi.
Anti-successful name.
Bonna
batuma abaana baabwe batuma ki? Once I stress Mirundi, why? I don't have a Christian name.
Ate Joseph.
Joseph is a nickname. Natoka mu P6, P7. Nibaga nti okola ebigezo, you must have a Christian name.
Nibakuwalya Joseph.
Nerwanira mu church nekubafaze kiko n'enfuluma.
Koza alikuwa myaka emeka.
I apologize, I came late purposely. I had a night prayer session in my church.
Church chevi nawo saba.
I'm the chief priest. The saba mu church.
Ogambeni abenkumye saba.
I have my church. I was born 120 miles from Kampala. I went for consultations.
Mzee sikutegedde mwao. What prayer session? Night prayer session.
This is going to be a very different program. And I want to borrow 10 minutes to make a personal statement.
Please go on. Go on.
Decision making in politics is a whole chapter. When do you make a decision?
In politics.
A decision is determined by what you want to achieve. All decisions must be purposeful. A decision must put in a picture the past and the future. A decision must be determined by your past and the future. So when I make a decision, I consider all of these factors. Decision yange eri ku bintu bisatu. I went through 3 things this week. One of the rioters.
Okay.
Rioters, although I have many vehicles, I don't drive. I went to the driving school, learned driving, but I don't drive.
Why?
But on that day of the rioters, I don't know what possessed me. I drove myself from Kampala to my home.
120 kilometers?
Yes. Without security. And nobody knew. Never surprised me. Bana abaana bali balina communication system.
Abaga byali bekalakasi.
Buyita ku road block ene yawo for communicating. My vehicle was never attacked. Ebya Museveni byennyini nga buli wetuuka baga kukuba ba mafias. This is a lesson to the mafias. Nawulidde nanga ngagamba when was the police caught unaware? And it's not your responsibility, it's the responsibility of intelligence. Buganda riot zabakwata punch down.
Wano mu Kampala abantu abajangako n'enjala eza yero.
Nkugambye nga bw'oyitawo oyina okukuba emizira gya Bobi Wine.
Alaba basimuuzanga ebipande bya Bobi Wine.
They had a communication network. In some places, bajjanga ne twekubya ebifaananyi. This is a biwenanga. Njamuga nti I deleted them. Nentuuka ewaffe. The most dreaded place was Nyendo. But because of their communication, bali bamaze okubabuulira nti emmotoka Mirundi yagirimu, amayinja gayimirira.
So it was a well-calculated demonstration all over the country.
Bano bwe baba basaaga, bali abaana omanyi mbagamba, nayogera ku Bobi Wine. Naye mbaga nti Bobi Wine, a government, the presidency is like a beautiful woman who works in a bar. Men of substitute and sense fear her until the border man who is aggressive floor her.
Kibaddiremu.
Bw'olabayo abalina amagezi mutwe abavuganya Museveni. Obwa president bulinga mukazi mulungi akola mu bbaala. Abasajja
abalina amagezi bamudduka.
Bw'omukwana toddamu na kubeerawo. Yo wa boda mukwata mu kiwato. Very aggressive. This is a movement.
Alaba mudduka bagamba ntona alabika
This
alina
is what I wrote
bangi.
about Bobi Wine. The president is like a beautiful woman
In a bar.
in a bar. Men of sense read her. And they tell me,
ali aggressive.
Yes.
Naje namutwala.
Yes. Tyson yakuba abantu bonna. Yamukuba yali aneno. Yamukwata aweddemu. Brazil yatwala World Cup emirundi emeka. Bagikuba kati. So the timing is important.
Tutandike?
No. Ekyokubiri, yesterday I was stuck in a jam. I was in my Mercedes Benz. Naye ababoda nga baagala kugisindika. Many government officials are in hiding. Otukubira ba mafia. Otukubira ba mafia. Is another verdict from the public. They had to hide your government vehicles. Which means if you hide a government vehicle, you are hiding yourself. What are you fearing?
That's a good observation.
Atembagamba. When a baby kicks a door open in the presence of a notorious village thief, he will not have come with a hammer. I think it is going to be enough. If people like a Bobby Wine can shake the country, you will see your people. Antibatigidi. Chinyenyezekako.
Nenga chinyezekako nga abantu anamu bakamume kama mazokufa.
Yes. Throughout the country, bali abana bakibabadde bakola. Era police bayine zino sente zebawa similar district officers. The police must be equipped. Kubanga enfuna daka yani district bayina kabanga libiri. Kakati bana abana bocha wano na wano. You can follow into an ambush. Kitegeeza kabanga lizina gendya mu groups. In future, say them call zibba. A single kabanga comes. Clears the way. But in a begari amaduka magari, I found one shop open in Nyendo. Yali yamukyala ngatunda spare.
Ngamala kuna magari.
Yes. Matongo. Bajja ne bakiriyalinga ne bagenda. Tewali presence. Kayibula had this spread the police, so these people can force you if you don't have money power. Nebadda mu group sendo kabangali ne bagikuba. Anti GM ne clearing ekkuba ne gende ewala bo ne baddawo ne babyoza. And these were new tires.
Je bayocha.
Emipiira gyabadde mipya.
Je bayisa mu makubo.
Nabagamba. Ntikitatta bwe bamukwata nti alina pisto ya Gaddafi ayirafuti. Nembaga nti if you find used condoms ku mufaliso gw'omwana wo ku muto gw'omwana wo w'emyaka 4 yabazikozesa ku maama wo.
Hapana.
Kitegeeza there is an intruder. You are lucky. Ti omukazi yabuliddwa condom wazitereka ng'oli agenze. Who bought these new tires? Must be a rich man. New tires to ban.
So you literally ogulinga agamba nti riot eno yabadde facilitated.
Yes. Kakati ekyokubiri. The same week I was poisoned. I used expensive drugs. And they are plotting to use chair poison. I know them.
You were poisoned?
I was
that
poisoned.
Is serious.
I survived on expensive drugs.
How did you get poisoned?
5 times. That's not a story. They can do anything. If somebody can behead a kid, Basibeka Dag, these are not human beings. These were bodyguards of Satan. They defected to us. When we are dealing with the humans, these are not human beings. Kakati, I survived on expensive drugs. Naye, waliwo a senior police officer. Namuweereza message. Mugamba nti I've run out of drugs. We cannot allow you to die. He sent 10 million.
For your drugs?
We cannot allow you to do what?
To die. A police officer?
We cannot allow you to do what?
To die.
You are doing a very commendable job to this government. This is a verdict from a senior police officer who enforces law and order, and the same verdict from
who serves the government?
The so-called hooligans.
It means a lot.
The third one, I saw my reading tormentors being humbled. I was watching them on Sunday. Didn't I tell you? Nti mbadde ku byuma byange nenda ba meeting. Omusajja bamu
omwali abakyala babiri.
Abakyala. Omusajja bamubba $20 million from his accounts abroad because he has limitations in travel. When I saw my tormentators being humbled
it was
and
victory.
we are forced to write handwritten apologies for stealing this man.
It was victory for yourself.
Yes. I danced, I went back in my small local church. I have a big church in the village and I have a small. When you come to my home, they will tell you, I'm church.
Osawa.
Nesawa. The neighbors.
The
Baganda have a proverb that if you follow somebody, you don't bite him. No, this is your freedom. This is your victory.
To you.
To me. Mbalabyeko nenda b'omusajja omugaggafu ge ng'abagamba you can even hire hitmen babatte ku ssente zange. I have copies of their handwritten apologies where they have surrendered their buildings. Nanyenya omutwe ne kajoga abantu. Let anybody undermine any of my programs on TV and radio. You will send my money in Kamwenge. I'm capable of doing it.
Wow.
Wait, the pain that this rich man has gone through is what I've gone through for 8 years.
Wow.
Akitegedde the human being reacted the same. One, they are talking about negotiations, no negotiations. A vanquished cannot dictate terms.
You can't negotiate.
They brought the Chinese recently, they brought the Canadians to jam my machines, they failed. They brought the Israelis, failed. They hired military intelligence agents to locate my machines, they failed. These are different machines. The report, I have a report from military intelligence agents. This man is connected to a satellite, a Russian satellite, which sends the images to Moscow and is the recipient. For 8 years they failed to get the machines. A victory, another victory against them. No negotiations. They are talking, you see the professor. Professor said, we underestimated this man.
Professor Ali Mukugula
Mwari. Professor Limba Mafia Vegeta Fellowship. Robbery is robbery, whatever name you give it. Abaganda bakugandi bamusumagiziza robbery. Bamuyigiriza Kampala robbery. So the title of an organization does not change. This is robbery. And robbery in government institutions, they don't spare anything. The Italian mafia has developed Italy to the 70s. These ones are crippling the country. So one, the professor said, this is the political career. Yes, this is diseased. To know kuzika, no kusiga. Okusiga means germination. Okuzika chitegeza dead. So what the professor is saying is that my political career is dead. Compensate me. They have agreed on compensation. That we should sit with him. No. A vanquished cannot dictate terms. Calculate my compensation adequately. Why? I never work in this government again. As he says that my career is deceased, like Jesus, it will resurrect in another government. In the future.
Maybe that will by the way.
So,
your
compensation, I directed them where they should put the compensation. It is not a buy-off, because a buy-off means I would stop, I would surrender my machines to them, that I should, they even offered me money to give the president false information.
Really?
Because they had captured all of the intelligence. How can I go and buy expired drugs to my sick father? From high, the mafia gang contains who is who in government. Very powerful people. At one time they resorted to Zoom. My motherboard contains 1 million people. Any of those 1 million people who makes a meeting, it reports. It captures it automatically.
Really?
Yes. And I never surrender it to anybody because it was not bought using government money. Ask the president.
That's a big story to investigate. How you got it.
Compensate me adequately because we shall never work together. Negotiations are completely out.
They know where to put the compensation.
They know where to put the compensation. Adequately. How much money have they used in dollars?
And you're not willing to surrender.
Happen. You see, public trust is like a virginity. You lose it once. Why do you think that this man who was abusing Museveni everywhere is now moving with a pistol? It means you are no longer useful to the president because the president was interested. Anybody would be. How can you? I'm a general with 50,000 rebels. You surrender alone? It means the war will continue. You leave, the air occupies the space. They must compensate me unconditionally. Two, they must stop stealing. Let them transform, as the president advises them, transform your mafia gang into a think tank. But at times, transforming is not easy. It was done by Italian Communist Party.
How possible can it be done?
Gorbachev tried to reform the Communist Party, he failed. The Soviet Union collapsed. But in Italy, the largest Communist Party was in Italy. When communism collapsed, the Italian communists named their party Progressive and retained power.
Wow. Tamale Kale.
Kakati. Two, release all of the victims because their method is once they know that there will be money in Irea, Umeme, other institutions, they hire an academy. They unleash their mercenary media. They admit. They use their media. But you did not have a convincing reason why you are fighting me. That's why, and more powerful and popular than all your newspapers combined. Why? I'm innocent. Can they give me a reason why they were attacking me? This is Jacobo. He's one of the people. The man is humiliated. Even prestige on his head. Vomit my man. If I want to destroy that Kaboy, let him try to undermine any of my programs. I hear they are trying to intimidate in Boga. Let that Kaboy continue his practice of intimidating people. I will release two creeps, which will destroy him completely. So release victims like a nursery, apologize to people like Rukwago, you humiliated to get money. They humiliated Rukwago, put him using Aklo. They had captured all state institutions. So that's the second one. Finally, I want to tell you the professor is a professor of psychology.
Are they watching?
Yes. They follow me.
Okay.
Like a grasshoppers follow light. Like a locust follow light.
That's how they follow you?
Yes.
Okay.
They follow me. Because now they're on my mercy. All of the technology is failed. I rape them like a naked woman. So
that's too much.
I rape them like a naked woman.
That's too much.
Don't struggle. Finally, professor of psychology njagala mumubuulire. Nafuna incident nga tukyali baana bato nawe wakola kuzomba tutta obunyonyi as if there was no me. Twakozesanga mipiira gyaki mipiira gy'eggaali emikadde kakati nga twakolanga butida kati bwe twasala mu mupiira ne tulekako ekitundu bwekiti nga kiwanvu mu ddiiro asinga oba twabulya maama nga ajja ne tudduka kakati when our mother came twakozesanga tadoba. We had no light at that time. Buganda yafiirwa leero line yali ina kuyita Masaka egende Kasese ne bagigamba mbu ab'Emmengo ne bagamba buli wait ettaka libafaata infertile. Amasanyalaze ne bagaleetangayo Mmengo. Mmengo had invested in UEB naye nga gali mu senta zaabwe zokka ne balimba Abaganda mu amasanyalaze bwe gabeera mu nnyumba abasajja batulizigwa Abaganda ne bagana amasanyalaze nga bo baganya. That's why at independence omukolo ogwali Emmengo Dina amasanyalaze gaavaako
Hey.
Yes, at independence. Yes, at independence. Abemengo bakusinga oyo omulangira wekenti. Naye amasanyalaze gava ku bugaddako gasanga babbenyama abantu bateeka ennyama mu makooti.
Wangi.
Kakati mama ffe yali alowooza nti musota. Naye omusajja bamuyitanga Minani. Twakula naye yabeeranga nnyo mu town. Era eventually when he became old, he was knocked by speeding lorry. Naye ne bakwata ne basasula ssente. Bamuziika bulungi. 3 million. Kakati mama waffe agamba Minani kuba omusota. After 30 minutes n'amubuuza naye omusota gw'okuba ogutafa kiki n'amugamba nti maama nkuba kipiira. Kakati the professor of psychology should understand and others who are watching me. All of the time they were hitting a Mirundi, a human being. I'm not an ordinary human being.
You're something different.
I'm something different. Anybody who tries to fight me thinking that I'm ordinary human makes mistakes. This is Bakuba Chipira. This is a very powerful outfit. The Americans got a lot of information on Zoom. Because Zoom at night you could hear all the powerful people. They thought by developing Zoom that they usually
not be invisible.
Professor celebrated even when the Chinese came, the last ones who cheated them. We say this time we shall put missile under our
feet. Let me ask you, Ankubuza Chibuzo Mzee Tamale, in regards to missile, who do you report to?
Nowhere.
And how relevant is your information?
Tebakankana kati bagambye bagenda mu YouTube. Aba YouTube ne babagamba mugende mufune court order. This is an American company. Ne bagenda bagifuna. Ne babagamba aba YouTube. Bayine million ya dollar. The only person who can order us to retrieve this information is Mirundi himself. Came back empty-handed.
Wow.
Memori bali be meeting you are lamenting. Atukubye, yes, you used the book and you used an extended media. Ate bakoze ensobi ono omugagga bwe bamubye Dubai Kuala Lumpur Philippines Manila kakati ate bagagga banna balina sente basabye bank statements sai every account yavuddeko bank statement ejirina mulinyeyo mulabe mulinyeyo mulabe mujeko that's the demand kakati nkugamba nti they fight you cannot fight me. I'm not an ordinary person. The ordinary person you see on me, this is a human flesh.
But inside you're somebody.
I'm somebody else. Somebody wondered, this man is not one of the richest people. He does not own property. We have all of this money at our disposal.
What do you want?
How have you failed to you were like a Minani who was hitting HP. I'm not a human being. Done it from professor of psychology. Singati chibadde tradition yange nti sobola basinkana. We can only meet in a mass grave. We can only meet in a police cell, a prison cell. We can only meet on a flight, which I cannot forego. We can only meet on a road, at a road below. Naligenze ne muganda kankwambulire mwengo yotegere. You are not fighting a human being.
Wow.
So stop fighting me. Stop fighting me. If I hear anybody, don't kobo yo sinze nkutuma nkubba. Sinze nabadde ngobba mukama wenga akuteka ko jango butu ku mutwe. Undermine me again. You will see a lunatic in Kamwing. Those are my resolutions.
Tandike. Nature nakunti ekinebaza katwanti wa survive nzobutwa.
I have survived 5 times. Kati babadde baze ku chair poison. Tintule ku ntebe. Through the honest. What crime have I committed to you? If I'm wrong, if I'm a mad man, how come that you are reforming from stealing government money to, and when you don't transform and you take your abusuma to that new outfit of what a think tank, I will again demolish you.
Wow. Yes. Katandike neze mboze zabadde week ewedde. Onawo otwana n'omukuku naye olunaku olwokusatu mukulu Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu era nga ye president wa NUP ekibiina ekito ekyasinza obutwano mu ggwanga yakwatibwa saidi ze yeeruuka. Mukuku nava agezaako kyogera ebyaddako kwali kwekalakaasa Uganda yonna kuba ebitundu bya Uganda ebisinga.
And they lost.
Yes, wenjagala tutandikire Mzee Tamale. What is our take home from these riots?
Let me tell you.
And what did we learn?
There are 3 issues. Only 3 issues. One, Nakugandi Museveni is a myth. These people, bobanga tutegedde virus bwekwata. Dr. Mwanje, I'm developing a virus. You should lie. You should lie your head in shame. How can you develop a vaccine when you cannot produce a syringe?
But I think we should give them the benefit of doubt.
Any disease, if you don't know how you contract it, you cannot provide a cure. Politics is like a medicine. Museveni's opponents have failed, including his close friends, don't understand Museveni. Nakusomera ku what we see. Museveni is okusifa.
Then what people think
is a patient man. Museveni uses reverse psychology. Reverse psychology operates on 2 principles.
1.
Reverse psychology nkutega ekintu noloza nti gwekifuna muganze nkifuna.
Wow.
It requires a highly genius person.
That's how he operates.
Kakati, how does Museveni operate? How does he defeat his opponents? Because he looks far and he does not change his goal, objectives. He can change the methodology, but the objective remains the same. Kakati bano chebatamanyi nti balinga bana basajja badde banoonyesa abakuba ekipiira. Parliament enacted a law that merged the old election law that gave people freedom to canvass support with the Health Act by Parliament. But when he sits in the Parliament, Museveni does not sit in the Parliament. We the writers, we shall write about Nankabirwa as a person who destroyed this party NRM. There is a new law. When Museveni is fighting his enemies, he refers them to the relevant institutions. Like he does when it causes trouble, you could all the other military people, you go to the court martial. When he was civilian, there must be an already existing law. Reverse psychology. That's why Museveni has problems with the police.
So how would you relate that to the
police? Does not have a police marshal. They only have a disciplinary committee, which is toothless. Kati Museveni mumukwatako. Kakati bakola etteeka ba Bobi Wine mu parliament, which curtailed freedoms of addressing rallies. Bobi nyini be bali kolanga takuteyo. Nerita. Teri rallies. Kakati bache bakola ba mafia batula mu meeting yaabwe. Bagamba nti Museveni atukozeseza written apology, handwritten, like this man, force these rascals. Jozi obona kana yakali nyeko mutobwa vomit my man n'entwe yako n'obusuma bwako bwonna
ninga SSM
ebizimbe
bakoze agreement
ebizimbe ebimuwadde byonna byayina abadde ayina kyazimba kuno n'okugamba ojja kwekya kaloli e Congo mulenzi gwe bwotalivaako you end up ng'oli ku mikimu gya kaloli e Congo n'enkimu ebizimbe yabitutte. Kakati nkugamba tiba Bobi Wine bazanyira ku Museveni naye ng'etteeka yalikola dda. Museveni is only undoing nti abantu tebabimanya.
Nyate kuno bambadde bamukwatidde lwa kumenya ki biragiro bya Minister of Health.
Anti ulira anti lyetteeka lyerimu. You don't address public rallies. Restrict yourself to 200 people. Kakati Bobi Wine kyataategeera nti bamafia ba Museveni nga bwe nawandiika wano bagamba we must involve ourselves in the campaign. Bayina abantu babwe bagala okugenda mu parliament. Some of declared themselves presidential candidate. What country is this? Kyobula baleeta buno mbu ye lwalijja oyo talira na kutongole wano yadde obwala sibamu bani bamu the most hated person in Uganda at his early age. It is very terrible to be hated straight to Uganda when you are young. Where will you go? At one time he remarked, are we going to eat snakes in China? Yes, you will eat snakes because if we create trouble here you will be forced to China. Or to remain in a human issue, they will put you in a human issue. No, that's one point. This man was violating an election law. But he didn't know that the mafia gang who wants to involve themselves
in the
elections were encouraging him. I told you that some of abamu kubemulaba munkungana za Bobi Wine benali ne bakwata benali ne babambaza t-shirt nti naye nabo violating stupidly. If Museveni says tuyina COVID-19 wali, I have two medical doctors, they are telling me figures. The figures are alarming.
More than what we see. Tujotoka wa maso katono.
Naye COVID wali kitufu wali. Ate wano chatana bakutta. Wano chatana bakutta ba medics banji. In Kenya, medics are dying. They have asked the government to insure them.
Actually, they're thinking of a second lockdown.
Yes. Kenya abatta na wano wali ne babba sente emmere ne bagiteka mu ettaka atenga
ensuka covid tugenda kituka ko
waabwe
ngabikola ensonga ya Bobi Wine ekibuze ekiriwo kino muzeyita
he was violating a law. Look, okumanya abasajja bajinga nnyo. Look, Baby Cool needs only to adhere to COVID rules. Bobby Cool, if handled by an intelligent man like me, Baby Cool, you only get yours, your problem is yours. And Baby Cool has a percentage not for Bobi Wine.
For what?
Popularity in Bavubuka. Anti-music kati yali ati play. Yes, because they don't discuss real issues. Bobby Cool yalikoze ekintu kyekimu nga muyita ba leaders 12 mu buli district n'aboogereramu. Tebamuwa sente, sayina sente. When I heard that Bobby Cool had no security at home, I asked my friends in the security to provide security for his home. Tebamubala. Baba suma babbi bajje mbuwe. Ulaba somebody can think of. Put Don is your dog. I know it. How can you think that a man who has not worked with you for 8 years, did you invite me in COVID? Did you invite me in locusts? What type of heads do you have, these arrogant boys, that I can sit with you? I said, when Museveni told me to go to president's office, he was inciting me to kill Tumwebas. The man was killed my political career and work under him. Rinda mbenyondo mwaso omutwe. Kakati nkubuli nkugamba. Bobi Wine awuya good day. The Americans were very tough and specific. Charge this man before court. He was charged before court. And I heard that now discipline prevails. Why do you stop? First of all, why do you preach to the already converted? When people come to see you on the way, it means that you are supporters or the Chirolo. So you look at the statistics. What percentage of Chirolo is this? True, I told you. Bobi Wine yagenda waliwo problem. Omulenzi ono yagenda creating anga yakaloba president. The Museveni's problems rotate around 4 people inside his palace. People going to Manyuka when the name of mafia gang. Kakati, Bobi Wine has lost. 2, when you analyze the way they organize themselves, many people, why do you think that prominent people died? These prominent people died. Why? Because Ugandans forgot about government. Abantu bali ku private sector. Kasita yatukolera omulimu mulungi ennyo ne gaza amaduuka. Abantu ne bategeera nti bw'ogala edduuka omuyindi akubanja. Ugandans will work even on Christmas.
So they woke up.
They woke up. That's why these people who were killed, most of them by spray bullets. Ate mpulira bajinga. Bakuba live bullets. Did the parliament provide the money to buy rubber bullets? Bajinga kabisa.
Rubber bullets weziri. Na nalonze nako bit.
Ziriwa.
Weziri.
Yanti mchikole muteka. Because we call it the Riot Act. That a policeman comes and reads the Riot Act. If under this section of law, if you don't move from this place, in 20 minutes, I will use maximum force.
ekyo ne IGP yakyogirako n'afulumya manyo n'abagamba katona afulumya sasi
gwengodduka naye bano bambi abafa bagamba nti poliisi bwenejja netukiriyalingira that was basically strategy tibesi yalumbanga gundi working places markets for one purpose nabagamba nti mubeera ku mizigo ng'omwana akaaba taata we tasobola mugulira mata what you do muvemu mukwana omukazi mugulire omwana amata mwebaka ubaliroketi kakati the strategy is if Ugandans who are working in these working places see that the government cannot contain the rioters, they will join the rioters to overthrow a weak government. This is strategy. That's why they take it. 3 intelligence stakeholder. I know Besigye. Look what the character of Besigye. Whenever there is a big function in Uganda, Besigye finds the excuses to stage strikes.
Yes.
Besigye, President Museveni yasweyalinga baali President bamugambye Entebbe nti Kenya Airways eganya okuleeta Besigye n'abaga nti lwaki nti anti waliwo emikolo wano Museveni n'abagamba we fought for freedom that Uganda has remained in Kenya because we have functions here. Bring Besigye on Kenyans allowed the Kenyan Airways to bring Besigye. Arrive at the airport, drive home. Besigye violated Museveni's hospitality. Yalimira kubayita ababiri. Besigye's group penetrated bakuba emmotoka z'abakulembeze. Museveni abaali Kololo naye ndaba oyo omukyala. Mukyala bwe babaletanga mu State House ne bayigizanga political science. Akero n'atwala akapapula wa president. Your Excellency, shift the luncheon from Entebbe to International Conference Center. Nategero on our wedding. That Besigye can force Museveni, the president of Uganda. An event. All of the cards have been distributed. What's the change? Of which are control? Museveni drove to Entebbe. Besigye motoka yezukuba amayinzi. I was summoned by a Nigerian court to defend the head of their ESO why they allowed their president to come to Uganda. Lwakiti yababulira nti Uganda ejja kuba kolaki?
Ejja kuba violent.
Ne tufuna Chogamu. They fought to Chogamu. The side kusendeza Chogamu. The same mafia ganga yazibba. The same group yabba sent. Bali yanga mputa bali kamba kabba. And they think they can suffocate others, intelligent people like me. I kill you. Kakati nga bakugamba nti olwaleero Commonwealth against Canada budgeted South Africa. At one time Museveni told the then Secretary General Mackinnon, if you shift Commonwealth to another country, I will sue you and you pay the costs. We have invested here heavily. That's the message. Era oyo Mackinnon arriving at Entebbe a few days before the Queen is arriving. Yagenda okulaba ng'oluguudo balukoze bubi ng'amayinja gakuba emmotoka n'abaga nti Queen tajja kujja. Ababbi abaali mu works ne bakwatirawo yingini y'abagonza. I fought for him, he's back, he doesn't pick my phone. Bagonza does not pick my phone. I fought for him. Bamukwata agenda n'Entebbe to make it dramatic as they do to humiliate you. One day you pay heavy price. Besigye ne tufuna an international parliamentary conference Kadaga yagireta abantu 10,000. Besigye yajja mu kibuga akole mayhem.
Eni aliwo makogwe.
Bamukwata bukwasi his car was towed. Ngali mu kibuga era zekola mayhem. President Museveni was invited to make a key address in Kenya. Besigye picked an excuse. Uyu mutabani we namukuba namufuiti amufuyidde. Besigye n'agenda Kenya. We arrived in Kenya a day before. Nga TV za Kenya zonna ziliko Museveni kwisha. Omanye ebintu ebivundu.
What is the motive behind that?
He does not want to give Museveni. Besigye is carrying a personal vendetta against Museveni.
Is Bobby Wine becoming a replica of that?
President bwatuuka mu conference, a hired fool stood up Your Excellency, do you think you have the moral authority to address this August conference when one of your leading opposition leader is in Nairobi, came here as a blind man? Abantu bamulagira fuluma, get out. President Yabagamba, if that man wants to know about Uganda, let him stay here. Museveni addressed these people for 3 hours, non-interpreted, on power, energy. It was a conference for executives of people involved in it. Basically, Museveni bambuza, will you have time to go and visit Besigye in the hospital? Museveni Yabagamba, he decided to come to Nairobi. We have hospitals in Uganda. I have not that time.
Wow. Very bright.
Ekitegeeza singa oyina intelligence kakati lwaki bakoze strike. Then we have new important representatives in Uganda.
The
British High Commissioner, we have a new British High Commissioner, we have a new American ambassador.
Tamale,
they had to stage it.
Kambuzemu omwaka ogwedde olwakwatira 2018 olwakwatira Bobby Wine mu Arua balaba ekyaliwo almost countrywide waliwo okwekalakaza kati kyembuuza kino ekyabadde eruuka ab'ebyokwenda tebakibanize nti banakwata Bobby Wine there's going to be another riot.
Lwakuba tebabibabuulira bagende ne bawayiriza omu ku bapolitician beeruwuukya nti yakikoze olusuku talina n'ennyumba teriyo
awe tuli kati saawa zino
anti kankubuulire nakugenda nti Museveni uses reverse psychology. Museveni lures his enemies to come out of their snake, to come out. You lure the snakes to come out of the kuba kakati abatekinze n'amanya muzito waki kati abategedde muzito waki yabategedde kubanga you don't know. Nze nagamba nti if I get a chance maybe in the future governments to be in education, political science, logic
must be a must.
Propaganda must be a must. If you don't have those elements, first of all, let me tell you, what is a state? People don't understand the state. A state does not negotiate. A state was given coercive forces. Kugolola tumba. That's what the Baganda say. A state cannot negotiate with the Ugandan.
Is Bob Wine dealing with the state?
Yeah, anti-law. Ate mu ICC babalimbira bwerere. ICC cannot take a policeman who is enforcing the law. Nekigamba ne Kayihura. Nti ni Kenya eyali akulya Inspector General of Police General Ali baga nimutwale Hague. As long as he was doing his work enforcing the law tatwalibwa Hague. Abapolisi kumpa amasemu nembatisa tebasoma international relations. ICC cannot touch on a person who is enforcing the law. Ekyo Tumukunde yali akimanyi. Tumukunde bagamba iso okutta babbi yagana. Yaga give me an instrument that will insulate me in the future. Kayanja akuba gafula. Wanudde nga government enevudde ko bakwata Kayanja. Wanudde nga government evudde bakwata oyo command of land forces. Eyakuba olubiri lwa Mumbe. Abantu bonna basayinzaawe ye yavayo mu nasambulia.